Hello everyone! The cryptocurrency market has been essentially in a state of consolidation, but I don't think this will continue for very long. This is when things start to get interesting. I've been watching one particular XRP chart analyst, and if they're right about their prognosis, we might be a few weeks away from the XRP season really getting underway. I'm referring about that momentous occasion when XRP simply disappears, completely out of control, and begins to melt faces everywhere. And to be honest, it's been 8 years since we've seen such face-melting madness. Look, there's no denying that it's been amazing to watch XRP soar to several new all-time highs. We've already reached $3.65 this cycle, which is stunning to see. That's it. It's complete confirmation for each and every one of us. Naturally, we were right all along about XRP, and it now has the legal certainty we campaigned for, the entire crypto war. Yes, it's finished and done. This stuff is really incredible. Here's my point though, that melting phase of the face, we have been waiting anxiously for that final crucial component of this puzzle. I haven't had that experience yet, but believe me when I say that it will happen. Therefore, in this video, I will break down the viewpoints of 10 different XRP chart analysts for you. However, since Bitcoin is dominating this industry, I also really want to take a moment to talk about it. You must listen whether you are holding it or not. I'll also go into why historical trends indicate that Q4 is going to get really wild. Well, let me be absolutely clear about something before we continue. I have no prior experience in finance of any kind. You should not buy or sell anything based on anything I say or write, because I am not offering financial advice here. As I write this, XRP is currently trading at $2.88, while Bitcoin is trading at $123,436. Now take a look at the events of the past 24 hours. To let you see this for yourself, I will actually go back and forth between the Bitcoin and XRP charts. It's very much the same chart, isn't it? The entire market is simply moving in unison. Nothing interesting is going on, nothing alarming. As of right now, we're merely waiting for consolidation to end. Although, to be honest, it hasn't been that long in the first place, so I don't think we'll be waiting much longer. Just a few days have passed since Bitcoin nearly made it to $126,000. This is what I always say then. The amount of time you actually have to wait keeps getting less and shorter as a market cycle progresses. Yes, you might occasionally have to wait years, real years back in those gloomy bear market days, for something amazing to happen. But now that we're at this later stage, there's no way. In fact, you had to exercise less patience than you had previously required. Additionally, history has a lovely way of rhyming with itself, and I have no doubt that this will happen again. Therefore, there is no doubt that we are going to go much, much higher. And since they are all taking risks on the same assets, it goes without saying that the stock and cryptocurrency markets are already dancing together. Therefore, whenever there is a greater general appetite for risk in the financial world, it will influence not only stocks but also cryptocurrency. The distinction is that, obviously, cryptocurrency offers far higher returns on investment. The stock market isn't even in the same ballpark when you compare it to the previous 16 years. I came into this piece by Jeffrey Hirsch by chance. He is the CEO of Hirsch Holdings. My mouth fell open. Data dating back to 1950 was extracted by this individual. Like people, we're discussing the history of the ancient market here. What is he displaying? The performance of the S&P 500 following its October highs, which were the highest since 1950. Unadulterated gold. Jeffrey makes an astounding observation. Following 4 or more S&P 500 new all-time closing highs in October, Q4 has consistently been favorable. That period from October to December, we've already recorded 4 all-time high closing for the S&P 500, and we're only a few days into October 8th. It's always fire. This month 4 records have already been broken. That's crazy. He is actually providing more than 70 years of evidence that Q4 performance skyrockets whenever this same situation materializes. Look at the bottom part of his chart. No joke. October often sees 4 or more new all-time highs, which results in an average gain of an astounding 22%. That is truly insane for the S&P 500. My favorite part comes next. What is the signal for our space? Crypto usually reflects changes in the stock market. To be honest, I won't be surprised in the slightest if everything takes off. However, what about the actual fireworks? Observing the response of altcoins, especially XRP. To be quite honest, XRP is by far my favorite coin. I'm unreservedly enamored with it. There is no shame in this. It's my largest individual cryptocurrency holding, and because of its incredible performance over the past year, it has grown to about half of my whole portfolio. It's something you adore seeing. And what do you know? Sincerely, I think that percentage will continue to rise. I'm referring to the cautious conservative analyst that mentioned double-digit valuations for XRP. If it does indeed hit some of the price levels that many chart analysts keep speculating about, when we eventually arrive, it will seem as though we are in a different reality. You see, I'm not acting like I know everything. Indeed, that is entirely legitimate. The extremely unlikely can occasionally come true. The opening chapter of a history book is occasionally written. Can we therefore be certain that Q4 will be completely explosive? The number. But wouldn't you strongly lean toward it being much more likely if you were only considering the odds in this situation? I don't know for sure, and neither do you. But wouldn't it be far more likely that everything goes completely haywire, and you already know that XRP will profit greatly from this? That's the exact reason this is making me so angry. After that, I discovered this treasure from Matt's Seminario. This charting whiz points out that when Q3 rises by at least 7.8%, this is the historical average trend for Q4. Q4 typically delivers a respectable performance of about plus 7.7%. However, the majority of those profits usually materialize in November and December. You can therefore look for even more historical support. This is precisely where we are at the moment, given that this is our reality. The rest of this quarter is going to be completely crazy if history decides to repeat itself. Furthermore, that specific number is irrelevant, even if the percentage increase were only 7.7%. Once more, the S&P 500 is being discussed. The important thing is that it shows a growing appetite for risk. There is a chance that the atmosphere will evolve. If you want cryptocurrency, you really need that to lose any sense of reason. We're all waiting for that exact moment. Basically, history teaches us to expect that. Even though Andreas Stena Larsen was a complete stranger to me before reading this piece, you can be sure that I will be following him right away. He wrote this, the most despised rally, when he was actually just taken on by Real Vision, which is Raoul Pal's entire business. As a result, he examined almost all sentiment indicators: fear, greed, the CFTC, the AAI. Here's the crazy part. At this moment, we are far from experiencing euphoria. He was really taken aback by that. Positions are hovering around neutral, with a potential bearish skew. Higher, much higher. That aspect comes as no surprise to me at all. Because look, I'm constantly browsing social media. I'm immersed in X, and people are constantly whining. However, you know that's not the atmosphere at real market cycle peaks. Everyone is on this wild euphoric wave, when we're truly at the top. They firmly believe that this celebration never ends. It goes all the way to infinity. Additionally, you will be completely destroyed if you even make any bad suggestions. We're not seated there at the moment. To be honest, simply by living in this X habitat every day, I'm not at all surprised. But the best part is that this whole process is supported by reliable facts. This particular setting is what appears just prior to those enormous skyward eruptions. As a result, everything is literally in the ideal position at the moment. Raoul Pal then interrupts and says, "Agreed," in a single word. It's as easy as that. This individual, Raoul Pal, used to work as an executive at Goldman Sachs. Without a doubt, he has some XRP in his portfolio. Additionally, he is the CEO and co-founder of Real Vision and global macro investor. Here's why he's important to me though. I truly understand why global METS 2 is so absurdly significant, and how Bitcoin and the entire cryptocurrency industry simply follow it like clockwork because of this man. And observe our current location. At the moment, global METS 2 is literally dancing near all-time highs. As we already know, there is a lag time before Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies catch up. What comes next then? Well, it just does what it does nearly all the time. It proceeds on a full-scale upward rampage. Listen, that's essentially the best indicator if you're looking for just one measure. It's this. Well, it's not flawless, but it is the closest thing to a crystal ball you will ever find. And I only know all of this because of Raoul Pal, which is precisely why I'm always discussing it on my channel. That's how